Hey everyone, welcome to Beach Investing. I'm your host, Andrei Angelkovski. Today we're with Tim Syrianos, the broker of record and owner of Remax Ultimate, my broker. So Tim, I wanted to talk about a very popular topic that's been going around in the news lately. It's about Toronto's real estate market. There's a lot of news that says there's a real estate bubble that's going on. One newspaper says there's a real estate bubble, another article says there is no real estate bubble. Economists, different opinions. So what I'd like to ask you, and for you to share with your personal opinion, because you've been in the business for 23 years, you've seen your share of recessions. You've been through a couple. So you must have a good vision of what's really happening. Can you kind of share your expertise, if you don't mind?
Well, I mean, the biggest one that I went through really was 1989 to 1995, 96, as the market started to pick up and take off from there. And really, outside of 2008, we've seen a continuously climb in our real estate market for that whole entire time. Now, many people are wondering what is causing it. Well, what is causing this increase in prices? There are many factors. Number one, you've heard it many times before, so I won't sound like a really smart economist to everybody right now, is the practices of our industry, our financial industry here. We don't just give money to anyone for anything. We learned our lesson in the late 80s, early 90s by that kind of lending, and that lending stopped immediately. So a lot of the condominiums that are being built right now that are already broken ground and are off the ground, for them to get financing, they're selling over 85% of these with 25% down. There's no such thing as $5,000 down and buying 5 for speculation. So the foundation, pardon the pun there, is very, very strong when it comes to our industry. Now, what is causing it? A lot of people are moving back into the city. A lot of children, from baby boomers are buying right now. A lot of money is being re-injected into the real estate market. They have a lot more confidence in real estate than they do in the stock. It's just watching the vibrant city just continuously change with so many different people from around the world that are even coming in here. So are we in a bubble? If I had a crystal ball, I would be able to properly answer that question. Do I feel there's a bubble? I don't feel there's a bubble. I feel that the market is very strong. I would like to see a lot more supply entering the market to balance things out, because that will I don't want to say put the brakes on the market, but at least ease up on the gas, right? And easing up on the gas is very important. So once that happens, people will start to not worry about the multiple offers as much. They'll be able to look at it as a proper investment, right? So the market going forward, to answer it all a lot easier, is it's very healthy, it's very strong, and I continue to see prices rising slightly more again in this year and year to come.
Okay, and you invest in real estate as well?
I have, yes, and I still do.
So a question for you is, people talk about Toronto is overpriced compared to other cities, affordability. What's your opinion on Toronto in general?
I think the Toronto price increases are right in line with a lot of other major centers. If you look at Ottawa, for example, and you look at the last 5 years, it's 23–24% increase. Same thing with Toronto, maybe about 28 to 30. But it is a much larger city. Across the board, whether you're going to many different major cities, even in Canada, the increases are around the same amount. Now, unfortunately, places like Windsor have not experienced that. Windsor has been very, very hard hit. Luckily, we live in Toronto, though. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Toronto, especially for the Toronto Beaches area. And, I personally invest in Toronto because I see it as a safe investment for the long term and building wealth.
Yes.
And you personally, I think, feel the same way.
I do. I too own properties in the that same vicinity as what you're discussing right now, and as well as the building that we're in right now and everything else. And I think that to go back to the earlier question, as an investor, the question is, would I invest in this market?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes.
Today, you would do it.
Today, right now, I would invest in this market, and actually, I'm actively always looking for that opportunity that works for me. It may not work for you or your viewers, but sometimes the opportunity is what works for you and your needs.
So regardless of whether we are in a supposed bubble or prices are too high, if you can find an investment, that's why it's actually really important to find or to define your goals.
Yes.
Because if you understand your goals and expectations, all you have to do is search for that property that meets those goals, that meets your numbers, your criteria.
That's correct.
And
Reasonably.
And if you're in it for the long term, okay, if the prices dip a little bit, okay, well, you're in it for the long term. You're not selling it in 2 years.
No, you're not. I mean, the way I look at investing, this is my personal opinion now, and it may not apply to everybody, is time happens. You know, whether you want it or not, time's going to happen. You wake up and 5 years have gone by, right? So if I was to buy a property today, and let's just pick a number of $2 million, okay? Because, you know, you can't really say, what do you buy for $1 million today sometimes, and what do you buy for 5, and everything. Let's pick a number of $2 million. Even if the market was to completely change, and just go down by 30 or 40%, right? And then it took 10 years or 15 years for it to come back. I'm just giving you a really bad picture. At the end of your 15 or 20 year amortization, because time happens, even if the market did not go up a single dollar, I've still netted $2 million. Correct?
Because your tenants have paid that off.
There's no longer a debt. So I forcefully have saved and earned $2 million. So I think many people today could say, well, if I could wake up in 20 years from now and be worth exactly what I paid for this property, I'd be happy. So a little bit of my kind of thought process.
I like that point, and it's well put, because a lot of people hope that properties go up and determine their investment on it going up speculatively.
That's correct.
So if you're only going to be, you know, hoping that your property goes up,
flip,
then that's a little bit more risky.
That's correct.
Long term, time is on your side.
Long term, you know, time is on your side. You're on this planet, and you have to look at where you're going to be in 5, 10, or 15 years from now. And any equity you build, you know, even if it remains at the same exact value, let's eliminate the drop in market. Let's say that the market just stagnates and remains at the same value. Even if it remains at the same value of $2 million, in 7 or 8 or 10 years from now, you can leverage the equity that you've already paid off to reinvest again in another property. So, ladies and gentlemen, real estate is a win-win-win. And you can actually go up and touch it. You can't touch a stock unless you call a stockbroker and it's only paper.
Thank you. Your knowledge is excellent. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers, guys.